Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of this little series we got going on. In the last one I said we were going to get into drawing images, so that's exactly what we're going to start off with. We need a batch to accomplish this. And then of course we have to initialize our batch. And it doesn't take any arguments, but where we start this is going to be underneath the frame clear, underneath all of this. That's where we render stuff. So in order to render, we need to call batch.begin. What the batch does is it takes a bunch of images and it sends it down the rendering pipeline to the GPU to be rendered. In short terms, you call begin and it'll render it. And then we do batch.draw. Simple as that, and we got a bunch of arguments that don't really matter right now because I haven't created a texture. And then we have to end the call. We have to let the batch know when we're starting. We got to draw our stuff and then we got to end it. So now that we know that, we got to get a texture, which is simply texture. And Control-Shift-O, we want this one, not the interface, this one. And we're going to call a new texture. Whoa, equals new texture. And if you don't want to look at the documentation and you don't know what goes in the parameters, you do Control space and it'll tell you what you need. And in this case, we need a file handle. So we're going to ask for GDX's files, and we're going to ask for its internal folder. And what this does is it calls to GDX, calls to look into files, and then it calls to look at internal. And internal by default is this assets folder right here. This is what it's referencing. So then it asks for the path of what we want to call from the assets folder, which is badlogic.jpg. So badlogic.jpg. And then we're going to give it our texture. And we're going to give it an X and Y coordinate and a width and a height. And if we run it, there we go. That's what we got going on. As you can see, the only way to really edit this texture is down here, the width and height of it. So texture.set, you can't set anything if you look. See, you can't. So that's where a sprite becomes very useful. A sprite is just another way of working with the texture. So sprite equals new texture. And it needs a texture. So we're going to give it our texture. Oh, wow. New sprite. It needs, my bad. Yeah, it does need a texture. Okay. So now what we can do with this is we're able to modify the texture beforehand however we want. So sprite.set, we can set the center, the color of it, the origin, we can rotate it, we can flip it, we can do everything with it. But we're going to set the position to 100, 100. And we're going to set the width, or actually we're going to set, I hope they have a way. No, so we're just going to set the width and height 100. Whoa, I'm stupid. Sprite dot. And if we just look through it, we have a lot of things we can do with this. A lot of things. So this is why sprites are very helpful and textures are just kind of bland. That's what I was looking for. It allows us to do a lot of editing with what we want. So now in our update method, don't mind really what I'm writing. Is key pressed. GDX dot input dot, or actually just keys dot A. I'm just showing you how we can pretty much do whatever we want with this. Set position to X, 100. And if it's pressed, then X plus equals 5 times GDX.graphics.get delta time. So Now we can call our sprite, and the sprite actually is an object that takes in the batch. We'll do sprite.drawBatch. And if you see, it's moving. This allows us to get some input in a very neat way. If I need to do this a little bit more dramatically, we could just do 50 and it'll go a lot faster. But don't mind really this. I'm just showing you right now that we can do a lot with these sprites. And I think that's going to be it for this one. But in the next few, we're going to start really getting into the player and some movement now that we got a lot of the basics down.